Hi Facebook Live, happy Saturday. How's it going for everyone? Okay, so it's the time of the year and perhaps you have your yearly review for a bonus or increment. So here's a tip for you to get a 37% pay increment, and this is a tip which you probably could implement for the upcoming year. Hi, my name is Eileen. I coach individuals based on a 3A framework, which is to attract, activate, accelerate. Attracting what you want into your life, activating the potential within you, accelerating you to the results sooner than later. And if you're watching me live, feel free to put a hi in the comment box. And if you're watching this on a replay, feel free to hashtag replay. So I know it's a Saturday and maybe the topic about pay increment seems like a bit overwhelming, but I wanted to talk about pay increment on a weekend because weekend you have a bit more time for yourself, and if what I'm sharing resonate with you, at least you have some time over the weekend to act upon the idea or really consider and implement it. Okay, so ever experience, I don't know if you're a job owner, have you ever experienced a 37% pay increment? I think most people do not expect a 37% pay increment, or at least in my years of working in the corporate world, let me think, about for at least 20 years, about 20 years in a corporate world, I've actually never thought that a pay increment of over 30% was possible. There was only once in my last job which I had. I always have the idea, or I also never really stayed long enough in a job whereby I would qualify myself for a significant pay increment. I almost change a job every 2 years. Why? Because whenever you change a job, there's an expectation that you get a 10-20% pay increment. Don't ask me why, but I have that number. Like if I do not get at least a 25% increment, that's not worth my effort to change a job and relearn and recondition myself to get accustomed to the new processes, new organization, new people. So there's a lot to experience. So I feel that in order to make that happen, there has to be a justifiable pay increment to make that sacrifice, right? So I think most people commonly, when I do my in-person event, commonly it seems like it's only a 5% pay increment annually, and it's actually not much because maybe of the 5%, 2.5% goes to your inflation, right? Everything goes up year on year. Okay, so if you would like a 37% pay increment, here's a very, very simple tip, and you can actually confirm this tip using a financial calculator. And the concept is easy because I was just having a chat with my private client yesterday, and we're just talking about being 1% better. And just being 1% better every single day, if you were to compound it for over 365 days, you actually have an increment or improvement of 37%. So if you were to change it to this idea and apply it to your work, if you're 1% better every day for 365 days, there's a very likelihood that you have an improvement of 37%. And what if that 37%, and it's 37.78% to be exact, what if that 37% actually translate to a pay increment? Right, that's quite a significant improvement. However, when I share the idea of being 1% better every day and experiencing a 37% pay increment in your life, most would be like, it's no big deal. It's only 37%. What's the big deal, right? But if I were to change your perspective and say that, what if you use this same concept and apply it in your work, and that might result into a 37% pay increment. Now, the mind seems to have woken up. Even for myself, when I was chatting with my private client yesterday, I was like, wow, that's quite a lot, a 37% pay increment. But when I just say a 37% improvement in our life, it doesn't seem a lot. You see how funny our mind works. So if you're looking forward to a pay increment, and the thing is that this idea is simple, but it requires daily commitment, consistency, and to be able to persist for 365 days. So if you're one of the few who decide to be 1% better and persist over 365 days, you are going to experience a 37.78% improvement. And if you put it in work, it could be a 37.78% pay increment. And you might think that that is not possible. I can tell you, in my last job that I own, I actually have over 30% pay increment. I had a double promotion, I had an increment, and I didn't do it over a year. Honestly, it took me 3 years. There was a bit of lag, and I waited and waited. It took me 3 years to experience over a 30% pay increment, right? So if you like this idea and you feel like you want to sleep upon it and act upon it, go ahead. But as you accept this idea, it's very, very likely that something will pop up, a 4-letter word that starts with F. Fear. Fear will pop up, and then you wonder, is it possible? How can I do it? You know, all this doubt and disbelief. So if you like the idea of being 1% better every day, it's simple. It's not too difficult. It's really simple. But yet you're worried that it might not happen, right? Because fear and disbelief pops in, because I've been conditioned that no, it's not possible to have a 30% pay increment within a job, but yet I experience it. So if I experience it, if I can do it, it means that it's also possible for you. You just have not experienced it yet. But if fear and disbelief sinks in, there are actually more tricks on how to deal with fear and disbelief. And if time permits, jump on to my masterclass. The replays are there. We actually cover it on day 3 of my masterclass, which happened 2 days ago. I'm going to leave a link in the comment box below. We actually covered quite a fair bit of questions, 6 questions to be exact. And among the 6 questions, there was a lot about dealing with fear, increasing our faith and belief in ourselves. And all these questions will actually help you to better internalize the idea of being 1% better, to experience an improvement of 37.78%. Okay, I think that's a really simple thought that you could bring along with you into 2022. Like, that's probably the simplest idea if you don't want to go into depth of setting goals, putting in a plan. It sounds too heavy. Being 1% better every day is probably one of the simplest ideas you can accept to experience a better year in 2022. Okay? So if this idea resonated with you, leave your thoughts in the comment box. If you like what I've shared, and if you know of someone who would benefit or resonate with this live, feel free to tag a friend. Feel free to share it on your timeline. But if you're shy to do it, especially tagging a friend, if it's too sensitive, privately DM them, because I'm sure there's one person whom you know whom you would like to help them to experience some sort of improvement and make their year in 2022 better as well. Okay, so that's it for today's live. I hope to see you back tomorrow for another live. Till then, take care. Bye bye.